Hello, my name is Amy Edwards, and I am talking today about pattern blocks. Pattern blocks are used in math for several different things. They connect to the standards in geometry, all three standards that come in geometry. I teach second grade, so I have three standards that I have to meet under the geometry category. The first standard is basically identifying the shapes and their attributes. What is different between each shape? How can you identify those? With pattern blocks, students are supposed to be able to identify, of course, squares and triangles, the parallelograms, and there are two different types of parallelograms that come in this set that we get here at my school. We also have the trapezoids and the hexagon. Students come in usually from first grade with a basis of knowing basic shapes, triangles, squares, rectangles, circles, and we usually always add into that the trapezoid, parallelograms, hexagons in second grade. But you can use this manipulative in all different grade levels. You can go from K to all the way through high school. With these pattern blocks, after you kind of start to identify those, you can use those to identify and tell differences in each shape. I go on to use them into making patterns and how to finish those patterns, sequencing what comes next in the pattern. You can always set them up where you have an A pattern and what's going to come next. You can change it and make it harder for ABC patterns and what's going to come next in the pattern, and continue through that. You can continue to make it harder by adding different shapes and in different patterns. You can also use them, they're soft, they're made of foam, the ones that come with my math curriculum, so easy for students to use. They love putting them out on their mats and being able to categorize or sort them into shapes. It's also good to kind of connect them with differences as far as all the differences in the four-sided shapes. In this set there are four four-sided shapes, and so a lesson that I do in geometry is how are they all different. You've got the trapezoid, you have a square, and two different types of parallelograms. So we talk about comparing and contrasting, and sometimes using a graphic organizer like a Venn diagram to tell how they're different and how they're the same. But one of the main things that I do use these pattern blocks for in second grade is for fractions, introducing fractions. That's basically one of the main things we have to teach in our standards, is how to cut shapes in half, showing halves, thirds, sixths, and that kind of introduces our students into the world of fractions, and of course it gets harder as you go. But the hexagon is mainly the whole of a fraction in this set of pattern blocks, and we talk about how the two trapezoids can make a whole hexagon, and of course one trapezoid would be a half of that shape, and we always show by overlapping like this. We can also show where three parallelograms make one hexagon, and we can compare that. Take one away, you have 2/3. Take two away, you have 1/3. So that's where we kind of portray our 1/3, 2/3 into one whole. And also we go into sixth with the triangles. We take our green triangles and lay them on top of our hexagon to show that each triangle represents a sixth of the hexagon. And you can always make another hexagon using all six of your triangles. So that's kind of mainly what I use my pattern blocks for, as far as introducing fractions, teaching students how you make fractions out of just cutting shapes apart, and that is the second and third standard that we have to meet in our new standards under geometry. How you take a shape and you can cut it apart into different size pieces, and how it can be a half of a shape, a third of a shape, a sixth of a shape. and they're just fun to use too. My students also like to use them kind of like tangrams. After they get through the lesson, they like to see what they can make and what pictures they can come up with. So hopefully if you ever get to use pattern blocks, they're fun for the kids. They also make hands-on learning more interesting. Thank you.